Hey, you guys, and welcome to American Culture. So, I figure since the holidays just passed, a lot of us are feeling a little down and blue, especially if you have broken relationships in your life like I do. And normally that would have been the case, but something revolutionary happened. I finally got to the point to where I just didn't want to reconcile with anybody or any situation from my past. And it was like a whirlwind of freedom. You see, the thing is, it wasn't always like that. In my journey, of course, of being separated from my own family for reasons that, I've already expressed, you guys. Um, I would find other things in people on like YouTube or even discuss things with people who were like, no, I don't ever want to talk to my sister, my cousin, my uncle, my brother, my whoever ever again, my mom. And I always thought that that was a little bit strange. Like, why didn't you have it in your heart or your mind to, come back together at some point, hold out that type of hope? But now I realize at Thanksgiving that hope isn't enough. You need to be able to have faith. And if they are the person who continues to cause separation and harm and destruction, it's hard to have faith in that. And so that's where I got to on Thanksgiving. You see, normally I would have been a little bit bitter because my goodness, why can't anybody like have a nice time? But this time it wasn't that. I was sitting there amongst people that I love and thinking I wasn't missing anything. And I don't say that to be derogatory or degrading to anybody or any experience, but the truth was there was no real nostalgia from any family life that I had carried into this day. There was no need to call my mother to learn to cook something. There was no pie of hers that I was missing. I think, in fact, I know in my entire adulthood in the last 14 years, I have had one Thanksgiving and one Christmas with my mother, and it wasn't even prepared by her. So I've never had that mom does Thanksgiving experience, and it hit me. I've never had a lot of mom does anything with me ever experiences. Not ones where she actually wants to enjoy it and she's enthused and happy to be there and loving enjoy it. It just doesn't happen. And so I realized that there's no reconciling with that. In order to reconcile, you have to have two people of a like mind reading and saying, we're going to go from here. And usually it's right back where you kind of ended things and saying, we're going to let bygones be bygones and move forward. But this woman that I am now, having morphed into this, spread my wings, become the butterfly that I am, just cannot do that. I can't time warp back into the persona that she's expecting, which is this prodigal child that's returned to honor and respect their parent, as God says so. That's not what's happening, you guys. I didn't run off with an inheritance. And when your parent tells you don't call, don't text, just for no reason, really. Because I said you have to stop lying to yourself. When we were talking about why it was so difficult to get a grandmother and a grandchild on the same plane together. Um, that goes back to why I had to end this, you guys. When you have somebody who doesn't want to go anywhere with you, doesn't want to do anything with you, says they don't want to talk to you, has convinced everybody that you are a monster in order to keep you away so that they can keep on getting the support of being victimized by this hideous person that they've made you out to be, there's no reconciling there with that, and there's no life that I could have had with that version of her. So it was necessary for me to end it there. And like I said, the first time around, it was like a whirlwind back in May, and it set me on this path, and that's how I ended up here today with yet another layer of freedom finding me. It's different when you get to that point to where you say, I can't, the human that I am cannot reconcile with who you are. There's no way we can put this back together and formulate a relationship that will lead us to the highest potential of what we were sent here to be and do for each other. There's no way, not with the way your mentality is and its inability or unwillingness to change at this time. Uh, Unfortunately, that's the best way that I can put it. It sounds so cold, especially when you're dealing with cutting off key members of your life, former spouses, friends, family members, and stuff. But that's pretty much it. Um, we're just not in the same space, and I've come to realize that we didn't have much of a relationship before. And if we could go 7 months without talking to each other, then we couldn't have had that big of an impact. And so, what exactly is there to go back to. And I think a lot of people out there who might listen to this now or later on in life, uh, will sit here now and have the same thoughts, like of people that they're holding on to. The flesh is saying, You're frustrated by this," and the answer is just to stay. Like they're gonna start thinking about, like, what am I trying to reconcile with? The person who brought me down, the person who, talked about me behind my back, was constantly gossiping about me, the person who didn't want me to be a success, the person, you know, what am I trying to what am I holding myself in position for? And when you stop doing that, when you stop wanting to reconcile, you stop letting the flesh feed off that frustration, then it'll finally die. And definitely can't reconcile with something that's dead. So, like I say, I used to be like, how do you get to a point to where you just don't want to talk to anybody anymore? And I thought that you had to be bitter and holding on to the resentment to do that, but it's quite the contrary. You actually have to let go of it completely in order to be able to say, I have nothing to make feel better within me by having a conversation or a relationship with that person. And so it's the ultimate freedom, because I think even with myself, and I had gotten to a point where I had to ask myself, am I like getting bitter about not being able to like just hear my mom say, you know, oops, my bad. I think my only real lingering question is like, why over all of these decades, like why my entire pretty much life have you tried to make me out to be this horrible human being instead of just trying to really enjoy the great woman that I've become really without you? Because I mean, even she herself can't think of experiences like groundbreaking ones, especially in adulthood, that she was a part of. Show me the proof. Where are the pictures? There are none. You know what I mean? I haven't even been there. I barely go out to Oklahoma, so it's probably why we didn't really have that great of a relationship. So yeah, there is the ultimate freedom of letting go of the bitterness and the resentment from what's not taking place and all this stuff, and saying, you know what? Don't think I want to reconcile with that anyway. And I'm good with that, and to keep it moving. So yeah, you guys, it's a good feeling. For those of you out there who have wondered like, why in the world do people get there? That's, for the most part, it's not because they're bitter. It's quite contrary. It's because they finally found peace in this new version of them, and the people that are coming into their life that can understand and want to grow and evolve and, prosper and be abundant and all that other stuff that comes with seeing the brighter side of life, regardless of whatever circumstance you're in. So yeah, just things have shifted, and there are going to be people, major people, that kind of come in, and either some other ones that go out. And reconciliation really isn't it. You'll know, just like now, you know who to open your arms to and be like, hey. And so when the family, the friends, the former people that come back into your life, and they come in with that energy, that vibration that you recognize as, oh, okay, we're on the same page now, then sure, let's start over. And in my next video, you guys, I'm going to talk about how that's exactly where you are. It's like you've given birth finally to this child version of you, that inner child you've given birth to, and now you can raise it accordingly and live out life the way that you're supposed to. And that's another reason why you can't go back there, because once you have a child, you start thinking about life drastically different. So yeah, you guys, it's probably a good thing that some of us did not get bitter this holiday season, and we actually got better. Have a blessed day, you guys.